Hello, guys. One very good news has got published. Maruti Suzuki, Indian car manufacturer's Desire model, has got five-star G NCAP rating, which is the highest rating for adult occupants. And it also Desire model also has got four-star rating for child occupants. It is amazing news, especially against the backdrop of how Maruti Suzuki has basically ruled Indian car market for a long time, especially in the price range below 15 lakh rupees. Grand Vitara and Brezza and Ciaz is on the way out. Grand Vitara and Brezza are the highest priced cars from Maruti Suzuki, whereas their market share with respect to Ertiga, Wagoner, Swift, and Desire is amazing. So nobody can compete with them in this segment, at least for a long time. But in the last 1 or 2 years, things are changing drastically, with Tata Motors and Mahindra playing an important role in development and research in their cars, giving very good products not only from performance perspective but also from safety. A lot of Indian users or Indian car owners or potential car buyers are looking at Tata Motors or Mahindra for their first cars or second cars. And those who are able to buy or those who are in the advanced stages of consumption, obviously they are looking at global companies like Volkswagen and Audi and Mercedes, etc., etc. So this segment wherein Maruti Suzuki used to play Maruti Suzuki used to be leader in the Indian car market, especially Ertiga, Ciaz is on way out, Swift, Desire, Ertiga, Wagoner, and then the Altos and espressos type of entry level cars. So they are actually facing competition from car manufacturers like, for example, Kia or Mahindra or Tata Motors and Hyundai, obviously. So they also have started, Maruti Suzuki has also started focusing on safety because the consumer is getting evolved, consumer is evolving, and he is not only looking at value for money but also for value for life. Let me share my experience. Actually, I think 4 or 5 years ago, when I was traveling with my niece Sai, we were coming from Pune to Mumbai using expressway, and I was driving, and she asked me, "Mama, why is the price difference between cars? Why are some cars like Mercedes and Audi cost 30, 40, 50 lakhs, 1 crore, 5 crores, whereas some cars like Swift or Wagoner or Desire or Ertiga are in the range of 5 to 10 lakh, 15 lakhs. So I said, being a production engineer, obviously I like to talk a lot about it. And I told her two things. Her age was not, she was a small child, so I could not explain her technology or technical details. But I said, the first and foremost, there are two reasons for this. Why there is huge price difference between cars and models. The first is value for life. The passengers in the car, the value of the life of the passengers in the car actually depends on the safety or the the way in which the car can protect this passenger in the event of any accident or mishap. And in normal routine operations, the amount of luxury and comfort and peace of mind that a car can give to the occupant or the passenger or the owner, that is why the costs are different. The costs vary from model to model. The second important point is obviously the social status. As we evolve as a consumer car buyer, we move from a basic necessity of traveling from point A to point B to a social status symbols. And that is these two important factors: the way car treats the passengers in terms of safety, comfort, and luxury, and the way the car enhances the brand of the passenger or the owner. These two aspects basically determine the price of the car, and then we moved on. So the why I'm telling you this is, since Maruti Dzire has got five-star rating in JNCAP, I think 2 days ago, the Maruti Dzire Maruti Dzire old model and new model were tested at the same time. The old model got 3 stars or 2 stars, which is very bad. From Maruti perspective, it was manageable, but from the competition perspective, it was not. And the Dzire new model, which is supposed to get launched in next 2 to 3 days, has got 5-star rating for adult occupants and 4-star rating for child occupants, which means for adult occupancy, Maruti Dzire has received 31.24 points out of 34, which is amazing. And for child safety, it has got 39.20 marks out of 49. So there's a scope for improvement, but nevertheless, from Maruti Suzuki perspective, this is a huge jump that they have taken in the last 6 months or 1 year. They have a crash lab test in Rohtak where a lot of hectic activities are happening for last 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. Because to create a car that is GNCAP, that is getting 5-star rating, obviously there is a lot of planning, a lot of design, a lot of manufacturing, a lot of to and fro, a lot of permutation combinations are to be made, and then only we can manufacture. We can get a car that can be standard, that can be standardized to a 5-star rating in a GNCAP test. So let us understand why basically this is important. As you're aware, cars and careers are very important to us, and cars basically take us from point A to point B in our life. Careers also take us from point A to point B in our life. To understand, I will not mention career in every time, but my analogy basically behind sharing this video is, though we are discussing about cars, we also need to think about 5-star rating of our careers. And cars and careers, driving, everything is same. I will cover the analogy in the later next video, but this is important. Please remember that I am talking about Dzire, and Dzire is not only Maruti esteem car, but also desire to improve my career, our career. So from car safety perspective, there are two aspects: active safety and passive safety. Passive safety basically is the strength of the chassis, strength of the body, then airbags, and such, and other aspects, physical aspects. The active safety is basically ADAS and the new features that are coming, active hill assist, then cruise control, etc. Soft features. So to understand this in more details, as production engineer, bear with me for some time, but it's very important to understand why Dzire getting 5-star rating is important for all of us. So there are 4 aspects behind any car's performance or efficiency or value to us. The first is structural safety. The second is restraint systems like brakes and seat belts, etc. Then the third is vehicle dynamics, the amount of efficiency, the coefficient, the drag coefficient, etc. How efficiently the car runs, not only from mileage perspective, but also from other carbon rating, etc. And the fourth is driver assistance, which is actually soft. It can be ADAS, or it can be hill assist, or it can be cruise control, basically. So there are various features that are now coming up technology-wise that are assisting drivers in driving their cars. And if it is driverless, we are moving towards driverless cars, wherein a driver will be there sitting there only for the sake of sitting, and the car will steer itself, and car will take us from point A to point B as per our destination. So these 4 pointers are important: structural safety, restraint systems, vehicle dynamics, and driver assistance. Now, safety is important because it has a cost and a value. If a passenger ends up losing their life because of accident, then it is a cost that he has paid for the safety. And if a car can save passenger's life in case of mishap, any kind of mishap, and it gives luxury and comfort to the passenger, obviously, then it is a value that car provides to the passenger or the owner. So the safety has a value and cost both. It depends on from what angle we are trying to look at it. Now, to the next point, important is why safety is important. Why Dzire getting 5-star rating in GNCAP is important. It is the crash basically. In a day-to-day operations, we never even think about any accidents or it cannot be planned, or we never think about what will happen in that crucial moments when a person or when a car is involved in an accident. Now, going by the research that has gone into this field, the complete process of the crash starting and the car coming to a standstill is only 140 milliseconds. So 1 millisecond is 1,000 of a second. 1,000 of this second, and 140 milliseconds, everything is finished. Right from the start, engagement, the first point of contact, and till the accident is over and the car is standstill. So within those 140 milliseconds, the car has to save you, and the car has to make sure that you are safe, your other co-passengers are safe, and there are no electrical circuits or damages or fires, etc. Especially with EVs, at the first point of contact itself, the batteries are disengaged from the car. So these are some of the aspects and this 140 milliseconds. Let me break it into you. So at the first point of contact, within 30 milliseconds, the airbag should be triggered. Within the first 30 milliseconds, the airbag should be triggered. In the next 60 to 70 milliseconds, the airbag should be deployed. We are talking about 90 to 110 milliseconds in which the airbags get deployed actually. First point of contact, then within 100 to 110 milliseconds, the airbags are deployed and we are saved. For example, so the deceleration, if the deceleration of the car after impact is to a certain degree at which the sensors are calibrated, upon the crash, the sensor calibrates what the deceleration is. If it is a dangerous level, obviously, then that means we are going to either the driver is going to hit the steering with his head, or the the front passenger is going to collide with the dashboard. In that case, within 90 milliseconds, the airbag gets deployed and we are saved. So airbag gets deployed and we are prevented from crashing into the steering wheel or the dashboard. This is all the 110 milliseconds gain. And in those 110, 120 milliseconds, everything that needs to be deployed from a safety perspective has to be deployed. That is exactly why 6 airbags, 8 airbags are very important. Now I'm driving Jetta, obviously. Before that, I have driven a Swift, Maruti Swift and Ascent. But from safety perspective, Jetta, mine was a 2014 model. And it was a fantastic car. Even today, there is no car like Jetta that is available in the market. So the Scalas and the Virtus are not to that level. And there is neither Verna or Ciaz that can match the safety standards of the car. So, and from 2014 perspective, it was brilliant. And machine is huge. Machine is amazing. You can actually tangle on the car doors, and then also there is no deformation. The point here is we are coming to deformation. So 140 milliseconds are very important. And from design perspective, if we want to make sure that in case of crash or impact, the passenger cabin or the cage, that as we call it, it should not get deformed. Then the material has to be very strong. So coming to the materials, there are 4 types of steels that are available in the market that are used in the car manufacturing. The first steel, mild steel, it can sustain, it can survive strain. It has a strength of 400 Newton per millimeter square. Then the next level is 600 Newton per millimeter square. The third advanced steel is 900 Newton per millimeter square, and the boron steel, or the hot deforming steel as we call it, is 1300 Newton per millimeter square. It is one of the most strong material that is available that can be used in cars, and it's lightweight. So the cage, the passenger body, the cage wherein the passenger seat, it is formed using hot form steel, boron steel, and it can take impact of 1,300 Newton per millimeter square, which is huge. The objective here is, in case of an accident or an impact, the cage cannot get deformed even by half millimeter, because in that case the door cannot get jammed and the passengers cannot get stuck in the car. That is why even after all sorts of impacts, the cage should stay intact and the door should be openable. The passenger should be able to get out of the vehicle as soon as possible. That is why this boron steel is used. Then there is a pillar which is in front of the driver on the left and right side. Then there is B pillar which is exactly on the right side behind of the driver and the co-passenger and the front passenger. And then there is obviously firewall. So starting from if let us say if this is the vehicle and it is a nameplate, and if it is driver is sitting here and this is the front passenger. Now the first impact is on the dashboard on the front let us say number plate. Then the kind of steels that are used, the initial steel will be mild, that can absorb the energy of the impact. Then there are slightly harder steel, 600 or 900 Newton per millimeter square kind of, and then the deformation starts getting up resistance from the material, and by the time the impact force reaches the area below the wipers, below the stem of the wipers, it is called firewall. From the firewall inwards, the actual the driver or the passenger's leg space starts. So it is very important to make sure that the impact of the crash or the accident should not reach the firewall. That is exactly why different combinations of materials are used in designing the manufacturing of the cars. And these materials with the assembly and obviously the design, these come together. Everything comes together with active safety, passive safety, the restraints, braking, airbags, and then ADAS. Now currently we are talking about ADAS also, ADAS 2, ADAS 3. And this coming together makes sure that the car is safe to the level of 5-star rating. Obviously, the NCAP ratings, NCAP standards for 2026 will be very different from the parameters that we're discussing now. But obviously, we are evolving and the cars are getting safer, which is a good sign. Now, the other important aspect here is, as a human body, our brain is actually, it is not connected directly to the skull. it is actually suspended in a plasma, in a liquid kind of plasma. So in case of accident, or even heart is not directly connected to the our chest. So it also is dangling in between, we can say. So in case of accident, our body tends to go forward at a very high speed, and the pressure can be up to 40 G for those 10-15 milliseconds. And in those times, in this period, the brain will stay at the same time, the same position, because it is not connected directly, and the skull will move forward. The heart will stay in the same position, and our body will move forward. And then there are internal damages, hemorrhages, etc., because of which, and even neck gets broken, etc. So to make sure that none of this happens, we need to have a very good safety rating. We need to have very good airbags. We need to have a deployment of the airbags. So this is exactly why GNCAP ratings are very, very crucial. And from a value perspective, value for money, obviously we have grown looking at value for money cars, VFM cars. Now it is time for us to look for VFL cars, value for life cars. Because we are fortunate enough to have a technology around us, or the companies that are around us, that are capable of manufacturing extremely safe cars, extremely efficient cars at a price range, as a price bracket that we can manage. Obviously, there is no point in making compromises in safety of the cars only because of the price. If at all it is not if at all it is not within budget, we should wait for some time, and then only once we are comfortable with the budget, then only we'll get into a safe car. So this is my advice to you as a production engineer, and not only as a production engineer, but also as a driver and the user of the car. So these 140 milliseconds are extremely important. Whatever happens in routine in our cars, moving from one location to other, is mundane. We tend to get bored about this, but those 140 milliseconds are going to play either make or break your life, and that is exactly why we are discussing about safety of the cars. And this applies to careers also. So active and passive safety, we must make sure that, luckily, GNCAP, the body like GNCAP or ANCAP for America or ENCAP for Europe, those are making sure that all of us are moving towards better and bigger and safe cars. And I hope that this video will help you also understand why VFL, value for life, is more important than value for money. Obviously, Maruti Suzuki has learned its lessons. Their marketing and sales team has already pressurized them to make sure that we also compete with the world, because Tata Motors, Mahindra, and all Europeans and Koreans and American companies are moving that direction. And if we have to survive and sustain in this global market, evolving customer base, we'll have to make sure that the cars are safe, efficient, and comfortable and luxurious at the same time, and cost effective. Thank you very much.